centennial year of 1976, he set out early in life to pursue dreams and adventure. The inspiration for greatness can be found in all of us, and there's infinite potential if we will only seek it and embrace what we are capable of. What can one person achieve? How will they face the challenges in life and overcome the obstacles along the way? Today you will hear about the journey of one man seeking happiness, fulfillment, success, and imagination. You're about to hear part of the story of someone in pursuit of becoming a Renaissance man. His belief is that we can all become someone great, but it starts with realizing what we have. It starts with the dream. So please welcome Bryan.
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing?
Good morning.
You'll see around you I've got some pamphlets of some of my artwork and stuff that you'll be learning about today. Today I kind of wanted to introduce you guys as your role. Today you are my therapist and my students. So just kind of give you a roundabout. I've got a little notepad here because this is my icebreaker, my first thing, so just some little keys. So therapist, students, a little bit about me. We all kind of start out in different perspectives in life, in different places. And I got to thinking about where I really wanted to begin with this. And part of what I'm doing is with my artwork and my photography and things, I'm on the stage or doing entertainment stuff a lot. So I realized that I kind of become a character. And part of becoming Toastmasters is not only to improve my communication and build leadership skills, but just to really kind of find the core of who I am and become more accountable not only to others, but to myself. And I got to thinking about where we come from, and one of the things that I thought about is talking to my parents just about the beginning years of my life. And I was born early, prematurely, and life always is full of tests. And because I was born prematurely, I was stuck in one of those little incubator things, and they used to come every hour on the hour and prick my heel, I guess, to see if I was responsive or whatever. And so that kind of made me think that early on, I had to deal with a lot of those challenges of being introduced to pain early and just kind of suffering and things. And throughout life, I guess because of that, when I was growing up as a young kid, my parents were kind of concerned because I didn't have any fear as a child. So I'd go out, we had 5 acres of land in our area, and then 160 acres down the street. And so I'd sneak off for an entire day and go off on 160 acres with the dog. And parents would have no idea where we're at, and I'd come back home with pet copperheads or an armadillo or frogs. I had my own ecosystem built in the pasture. So it was pretty interesting. I was always an artist. I was always drawing or sketching or creating something on some level. And during my senior year of high school, I got invited to an art show, and I just went to kind of see what it was about, had some of my little drawings, and art class in high school, we did screen print kind of thing. So I created this little dragon and did a screen print, and I had a copy of it at the art show with some artwork, and I got lucky because, when we're younger in life, if we have people around us that are trying to really inspire us and give us a leg up and give us opportunities. And I think as Toastmasters, we all try to pay that forward to some respect. And I got lucky, and a publisher from B. Dalton Booksellers, which you guys know as Barnes & Noble today, came to me. They had a newsletter for their science fiction fantasy stuff, and he saw a picture of my dragon and said, hey, could I use it for the newsletter? And I'm like, sure, I didn't know anything about it. The next thing I know, over 200,000 copies of one of my dragons, one of my art pieces, went out nationwide. And as a young kid in high school, it was overwhelming. My art teacher, he stopped kind of like responding to me. It was like a bizarre jealousy or something. And he was a phenomenal sculptor. But something about that made me realize now, even, that he had dreams and ambitions that perhaps he had forgotten or he felt kind of lacking because he hadn't promoted that. And here's this kid that just comes in and takes this opportunity. And when we have opportunities, we have to take it. And I didn't realize that. However, I did have my own ambitions, so that kind of got me thinking. And I had friends that were artists from that art show, and I started my own magazine. Now, what a lot of people didn't know is it wasn't like a high glossy magazine, it was a little fanzine. But what I did is went to the bookstore, and I got copies of science fiction fantasy magazines, and used them for examples. And I called some of the biggest advertisers and said, hey, my name's Bryan Crump, I represent Cyberdrake magazine, and I'm just starting it out. And this is my first issue, so I'd like to give you a free full-page advertisement in the magazine. How about sending a copy of one of your advertisements so I can send that out to you? And so they sent me, a mock-up, and I used that to do my first little mock-up of the full magazine. Went around to local advertisers selling advertisements. And even then, I didn't realize the potential that I had because I got complacent. I only did 2 or 3 issues of that and went on to other things. I graduated high school, went to the University of Chickasha, and tried going to my first semester, but that was my first time away from school, away from my conservative parents that were kind of overprotective. And even though it was a great art school, I just got over-involved in trying to go from not being popular in high school to trying to be friends with everybody. And if anybody knows anything, you can't be friends with everybody without upsetting someone. And so in an aspect, you can't be friends with everybody. And so I moved back home after failing miserably, getting complete Fs in that semester for missing too many classes and everything. And a friend of mine's like, hey, do you want to move to Dallas with me? I'm like, sure, get away from my parents again. So I moved to Dallas, and I got to working, a whole full time doing, sales calls for a place selling AT&T, and working my butt off. Got to be the #2 salesperson out of 500 people. The #1 person happened to be a psychologist, and again, paying it forward, he taught me the techniques of keeping people on the phone. But anyways, from there, I moved to Colorado, being in the Army, and started getting published with my artwork, doing photography, body painting and things. Moved to Las Vegas, got more of it out there. But I went through a lot of challenges where I got married, went through a bad divorce, and just kind of forgot who I was and the things I accomplished, to where today I've gone through a lot of self-help things and inspiration through Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar, all these different things that kind of reminded me what I was potential of, caused me to really rethink a lot of the relationships I had, and which ones were toxic and which ones were helpful. So for the past year, I sort of just stepped back and I've gone through a lot of changes, and through that I became a Toastmaster. And where I've learned a lot from you guys, and now I've got my future ambitions. I started my new company called Kaizen Dreams, which Kaizen in Japanese means continual improvement. So here's to the future, and everything starts with a dream. So thank you guys, Madam Toastmaster.
Let him know if he can improve anything or what he did well today. Moving right along, our speaker #2 is Lenny Heisey, and one of his evaluators is